Yes. Next, we will take a look at what is selected value and what scenario we can use the selected value. Okay, the selected value is really helpful, using which you can make your report dynamic. Okay, using which you can make your reporting dynamic. What do you mean by dynamic? Anybody? Is there anyone tried the dynamic reporting in Excel? What do you mean by dynamic? You are partially correct. Yeah. See, the dynamic reporting requirements, not only in Power BI, you take any reporting tools, right? It plays a crucial role. Okay, it involves creating reports or dashboards which can adapt to changes in your data or user inputs or other variables. Okay, and yeah, so you can use parameterized measures. The classic example is parameterized measures. Don't worry, I'll explain it in detail. And also conditional formatting, dynamic conditional formatting. Okay. Um, what is dynamic conditional formatting? Right, a dynamic. Dynamic is not self-explanatory. It gives more flexibility. Okay, it gives more flexibility to the users. Okay, the dynamic reporting, right? The dynamic reporting requirements are very common. Okay, that is the one they will expect from you. Instead of creating multiple reports within the same report, is there any way you can, or is there any way you can make my existing report dynamic? Yes, that is possible. With this selected value function, I will demonstrate you how you can make your report dynamic, or what do you mean by dynamic, right? That I will demonstrate with the help of the selected value function. See, there is a special requirement from your management. Okay, for example, I'll just show you this example. So, in my slicer, I have something called three measures. Okay, if I select any specific measure, that one alone should be displayed in my matrix visual. Or if I select total quantity, only that one should get displayed here. Look at total quantity. And total profit, if I select, only total profit should selected here. And then if I select everything should get displayed here. How is it possible? Is it possible to do that? This is what, see, in this case, am I using multiple report? No, right? So I wanted to see the total sales by category. Fine. I want to see the total profit and total sales breakdown by category within the same report itself. We are we are giving the flexibility to the users to display whatever the measures they needed, right? So they want, this is a measure, this is a measure, this is a measure, right? The key performance indicators, right? Total sales, total quantity, everything. And they want this one to make it more dynamic. How is it possible? So what we'll try with the selected value. Okay, we have the selected value function. So in the case of selected value, how we can, using selected function, how we can achieve this one, okay? How we can achieve the one which I have demonstrated a while back, right? Okay, selected value function, what it does is, it captures whatever the action you did it in your slicer, okay? Whatever thing that you do it in your slicer, it does so, right? It capture it. See, in this case, what I do is I'll just go and create a table. Okay, I just go and create a table. For example, I just click on the enter data. See, currently I'm the report canvas. Currently I'm in the report canvas. Here, what I do is I just click on the enter data. And here I say sales and quantity. And then yes, so these are the measures, right? Measures or metrics, they want to measure it. So what I do is I say metrics table, or I just say metrics slicer. Okay, slicer is actually a table. Okay, metrics slicer or table. Okay, so we are creating a static table. This is a static table. So far, you learned how to load the data from Excel file, JSON file, SQL server, all the things you have seen it. Whatever the file that you load it, whatever the data that you load it into your Power BI desktop, irrespective of the source type, it considers all the type of the source as a table in Power BI desktop. So those tables, we have loaded the data from the external source, right? So SQL Server or Excel file. But now we are creating a static table that is possible by clicking on the enter data in your icon in your report canvas. And then I specified the column name. The default column name is column 1. This is your table name. I'm going to specify the table name as a matrix ledger. This is a static table. Remember that. So what I will do is I just say something here, metrics. These are metrics, right? The column name. I'll give some meaningful name for this metrics. Yeah, metrics or yeah, good. We can name it as KPIs as suggested by Sagar. I just give the column name as KPIs. The table name is metric slicer. In this table, in this column, we have these three values. I'm going to hit load now. Step 1, create a static table which holds the KPIs. Okay. Step 1, we are done it. Step 2, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on a slicer. In this slicer, I'm going to use that matrix slicer KPIs. Look at the KPIs, right? I just select this one here, or you can drag and drop it. So in this column, you remember, right? I have created these three values in KPIs column. That's all. And next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a table or a matrix. Okay, I'm going to create a matrix. In this matrix, I just drag and drop the category from the category table, dim category table. And then I have already created the total sales measure. So why should I use total sales amount on the right? Total sales is the measure. I just drag and drop it here. Okay. So now the requirement is if the end user click on the profit, it should display the profit here. And in addition to these two columns, when the end user click on the quantity, you should display the quantity. So this is the reporting requirement from your manager. He doesn't know ABCs of Power BI. Okay. You are the developer and this is what is the requirement. You need to display. And this is your total sales. Okay. What is the total sales, total quantity, all the things. How can you achieve this one? Right? How can you achieve this one? So dynamic here, you need to make this instead of creating multiple reports within the same report, you should give that features, all right, feature. So for that, what I am going to do is I'm going to create another measure, not relationships. Here there is no relationship. Okay, there is no relationship here. And here I just say selected value. I think I already created that. Okay. Yeah, selected value. We have something called this is a measure name. So on the right side of the equal sign, we mentioned the selected value, the DAX function. Okay. So here I'm going to say matrix slicer, matrix table, right? Matrix slicer. This is the KPI. So we have used the term KPIs. I think I used the matrix table, right? I think so. I have used table. Yeah, metric table. Metric slicer KPIs. The selected value function, inside of this selected value function, I have used the table name, which I created static table name, and then the column name also I mentioned it here. Okay. So what this selected value function does, I just click on the tick mark. This is step 2, guys. Step 1, create the static table with the required columns and the values. Step 2 is create this one. This is for our reference. And I just click on the chord visual to check what value gets to, because you cannot see the you created. To see the output, you need to drag and drop the measure into a visual. Okay. And I just click on the profit. What happens here? It display profit. When I select quantity, when I select this one, sales. See the selected value function, what it does is, right? So here this is the measure name. This is the one I dragged and dropped it here. This is the one I dragged and dropped it here. And in this case, the selected value is the function. What happened? It captures what are the action that we do. It's something like a CCTV, right? Behind the scene, right? We are storing the value into this variable using the selected value. Selected value is CCTV, right? If I click on quantity, hey, this guy clicked on quantity column selected, quantity KPI selected. And when I click on this, hey, profit selected, right? So now what we'll do is step 2. This is for our verification. This is not mandatory. Step 3, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a switch function. Okay, I'm going to create a measure. So dynamically, they want to display the measure. Dynamic, how to display the measures dynamically. The interview they'll ask you is how to display the KPIs or measures dynamically in your report, right? So these are the steps. And third step is we need to create a measure. I just go here and I'm going to click on the new measure. So here I just say dynamic measure, right? So dynamic measure. I just give some value here, okay? And here I'm going to use a variable. You know how to define a variable, right? So var, and I just say the measures is equivalent to on the, I'm going to use switch function. And here I'm going to use the selected value. Note the selected value, value of SLECD, right? SLECD value. Okay. Or I am going to use the same thing, selected value function. Inside of that, I am going to use the table name and column name, right? So the metric, I don't know why it is not displaying. Metric slicer one, right? Metric, yeah, metric slicer one KPIs. And here, so if I select profit, here the profit will get copied. Okay, if I select quantity, the text value quantity will be copied here. If I select sales, it will say sales here. The text value sales will get selected. Okay. And comma, what I do is I just press enter. I just come to the next line. Ideally, this could have been put here. Then you remember, how many of you remember switch function? We already, discussed, right? And here I just say the first one is what is that? In our slicer, we have the, yeah, I just put sales, comma. We know already we create a measure, right? Total sales. When the user click on the sales in the slicer, it should give me the total sales. Okay. And then when the user select the quantity in the slicer, total quantity. Okay. Already measure is there. Very good. So here the profit. So profit, I just say total profit or something like that. Okay. And that's all. We are done with that. And so this is a condition, right? If this one returns, if the selected value gives me sales, then what you do is you put sales and give me the total sales, right? The sum of sales. Okay, if the selected value is profit, then it will give me the profit. The selected value is selected, if the selected, whatever you select in the slicer as quantity, display total quantity, right? And if anything else, you put it blank. Other than this, sorry, I pressed enter mistakenly. I should have, so you need to hold the Alt key and press enter to come to the next line. And I just put blank here. It's something like if else, guys. If the expression has profit, you go here and display the total profit. If the expression, this one returns the quantity, if the user selected quantity, then give me the total quantity. If the user, right, only these three options are there. So rest of them you just put blank, okay? And then, whenever we use var, already we discussed, we have to use the return statement along with this one. And here what I do is I just return the var keyword should be coupled with your measures, right? Sorry, the variable, right? Return statement, sorry. And I just press enter. Is there anything wrong here? It gives me some syntax for something is wrong here. Selected value, I already mentioned it, correct. And sales, everything, and comma blank. Yeah, here it is there here, correct only. The syntax for DAX var measures, right? So here, if we keep the syntax for is incorrect. Dynamic measure var equal to measures. Okay, here return measures, correct, right? So this is the one will hold the total profit if the user select profit in the slicer. If the user select quantity, it will give me the total quantity. That one will be stored here, okay? So this is the one will give me the return the value of the selected value measures here. But here it shows syntax for is they put anything okay, blank. Okay, sometimes even this may also cause problem. I just press enter. See, this parenthesis, I mentioned it here, right? So make sure that you are putting this parenthesis in alignment with this one. Okay, now issue has gone. A dynamic measure. There are some silly issues. Dynamic measures. This is the one we created it, right? I just drag and drop it here. Look here, this is, it displays the profit here, right? If I click on the quantity, it gives me the total quantity along with the total sales, and then it gives me the total sales here. So this one and this one is matching same way, right? Yeah. Okay, okay. The total sales, what you can do is you can select this here and you can go to the data view and here you can specify the, sorry, here you cannot see that here. And in this case, the total sales, your format, okay, you have format. Okay, that we'll see it later. Okay. So now you understood, right? So when I select profit, the selected value function pick up this one automatically, right? It's kind of a CCT, which person came first in your apartment and then which person came second in your apartment. That is the one is, captured by selected value, this selected value function. That the value selected by the selected value function, I stored it in a variable called selected value. Let it be there. But still what I did, in this measure, I'm using the selected value. The selected value is profit. Give me the profit. If the selected value is quantity, if it is a quantity, display the quantity here. Okay, that's how you can. But here, right, so here I'm going to clear this. And now the challenge here is, if I select profit, still the measure name remains as it is. Okay, is there any way can I change the column name? As in is it possible to change the column name dynamically? Okay, is it possible? But selected value, now we understood. Before we jump in the next thing, let us quickly understand what are the steps involved here. First, we created a table, right? So static table, created a static table. Second, what we did, we have created a measure, right? So created a measure to view the value selected by the selected value function, right? Function. And third steps, what we created a measure, another measure, right? So this is also created. This is for our reference, and we have created another measure, called dynamic measure. Dynamic measure. Okay, so it's 3 steps. Static table created, and then this for our reference, we create one measure, and we have created another measure named as dynamic measure. In this dynamic measure, we use the switch function. With the help of the switch function, based on the value returned by the selected value function, display the appropriate or the relevant measure or the KPI value. Okay, so that is what is happening. Only 3 steps are involved. So with this, you are able to understand how we are able to successfully make our report dynamic without creating multiple report. Okay, so the next question is, right, even though you have given it, the next thing what he asked your manager, that's fine, man, you have created it, it is fine, but when whatever the item that I selected, it displays, but the column name doesn't change dynamically. When I select profit, this one should get changed as profit. When I select quantity, it should get changed accordingly. When I select sales, it should get displayed accordingly. Why it is not displaying? Is there any possibility? So we have something called that is called parameterized measures. Okay, parameterized measures. So if you want if the user wants to switch between different calculations or the KPIs in the reports, like whatever we discussed, right? Like sales, profit, quantity. So what we can do is we can use the parameters. Okay, so what do you mean by parameters? Here in the modeling ribbon, we have something called new parameter. Okay, so what I will do is, okay, let me do one thing. I'll just stop recording.